Welcome to Chi City. Yep, we are in Chicago in the Midwest. I'm Ariel. This is Urbanist. Let me know where you're watching from. We are in one of the larger cities of the United States of America. A classic city alongside Boston and New York and Philadelphia. And right now we are in the downtown area. I just left an area called the Gold Coast. I'm heading towards the Magnificent Mile to see a little bit of Chicago. So let me know where you're watching from. So I'm back in this city because I'm partnering up with a really cool foundation. You'll be learning about them in mid-May. It's a really interesting story about a group of people who are trying to fight a very terrible disease. But that is for another day. But here, Chicago, nonetheless, I am here to explore, to enjoy a little bit more of the city. I've shown it once before, back in 2021, and I enjoyed some parts of my time. Chicago is still a city that hasn't charmed me, but there is definitely beauty here. So let's explore Chicago. And I love this neon sign right over here. So let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if anyone else watches from the Midwest. Lots of buildings here. It's huge. Really like big city, but Chicago's weird. It's similar to like Seattle in many respects. It's a big city, but it feels quiet at the same time, calm. Ooh, look at this old sign over here. The Pancake House. Oh, that's kind of cool. They make good pancakes. But we have all these like huge, tall buildings, lots of condominiums, wide streets, yet it's very calm while walking around. Hello, Bella. Nice to see you here. Hello, Out and About. Hello, Inspire Life. Welcome. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Sakoshi, Samuel, Kay, Terry, Marianne, Oleg, Ethan. Nice to see you here. Ethan says, wow, that was unexpected. Hey, I'm glad I can surprise you with a good live stream. So now we're in the glitzy area of Chicago. So we're seeing a lot of high-end stores like Arc'teryx for outdoor wear. We got Prada here in the corner. We got Hermes in the other corner. Going to do a redo of a deep dish, says Inspire Life. You know, Inspire Life, part of me, a small part of me says I really want to give it another shot. But a larger part of me, the majority of me, says, oh no, never again. Deep dish is, it's quite overwhelming of a meal. I think deep dish is better shared with multiple people. And when you're insanely hungry. Almo says it's not necessarily windy. Yeah, we're in the windy city, but according to the almanac, New York is more windier than Chicago. Boston is more windier than Chicago too. So technically Chicago is a windy city, but not as windy as New York or Boston. Kay says, I don't like a deep dish pizza. Me neither. I've never been I've had one good deep dish last time I came here, but 2 slices sufficed. I couldn't handle any more. Out and About says, I started to watch videos about Chicago, so this is good that you're there. Hey, Bella says, what? I love deep dish. Okay, so let me know where, if, and this is very big if, I were to consider eating another deep dish. I'm here for a very short time. So this might be one of maybe 2 live streams here in Chicago. But if I were to eat the deep dish, where should I go? I went to Lou Malnati's, wasn't too impressed. I was impressed when I came here first time when I was much younger, like 12, 13 years old. I loved Lou Malnati's, but I had it again when I came here in 2021. Wasn't too much of a fan. I had one that was like in the suburban area, and that one blew me away. It started with the B, I forgot the name. And then I had the other famous company here, and I wasn't a fan of them either. So let me know, what should I try?
It's my birthday, y'all.
Oh, awesome, man.
Cameo.
Happy birthday, man. All right. So here we have Versace, Dior. Hey, I'm interested in all the bridges in Chicago. Oh yeah, let's catch a glimpse of these bridges of Chicago. Oh my God. Buildings here, like New York, it's so dense that Manhattan is so dense that sometimes you don't really realize how big the buildings are. But here in Chicago, since there's less density than New York, you truly get a sense of the scale of the buildings. Mostly because a lot of the buildings stand pretty far apart from each other, at least in direct comparison to New York City or to another major city like London or a few other cities around the world that I've featured. Dr. Risky says Gino's East. Yeah, Gino's East was the other one I tried. Hey, CEO says, I loved your videos about Athens. Oh man, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much for watching my videos about Athens. So yeah, the Athens Urbanist series is done. 6 episodes have premiered. They're up. You can binge the entire series if you want to. I hope you enjoyed it. Jim says Pequods. Pequods is the one I haven't tried yet. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why Chicago, if you're going to notice as we're walking around, it seems rather clean compared to New York City. And why is that? Well, it's because they have these. Chicago, unlike New York, contrary to popular belief in New York doesn't have alleyways, barely, at least in Manhattan. So that's why we put our trash in front of the buildings, because we don't have places to put the trash behind the buildings. In Manhattan, specifically in parts like Brooklyn and many parts of Queens as well. But here they do. And this was a part of the original urban plan dating back all the way to the 1800s. And yeah, that's why Chicago's way cleaner than New York. It's that simple. Hey, George says, I'm going through withdrawals that you're not doing any more Athens documentaries. Yeah, me too. I kind of got addicted to posting a lot of these documentaries all the time. Get yourself an experience. Go to Margie's Candles. What is Margie's Candles? Do let me know, Dr. Risky. Never been to Chicago, but I wanted to try their Mexican food over pizza. Yeah, there's Mexican food over pizza? That sounds good, actually. I want one. Oh, Chicago's so interesting. Also, like the big mishmash of architecture. Because, you go to Manhattan, Upper West Side has mostly this type of Art Deco architecture. But here you really truly have a mishmash of Art Deco era, a little bit earlier this one. You have more this kind of modern, classical revival. I'm not sure what you would call this, but classical revival. You have these Beaux-Arts buildings as well, and super modern condominiums all right next to each other, which you don't see in so many high-rise residential areas in the middle of Manhattan. Inspired Life says Chicago's the home of the skyscraper. It is indeed. This is the birthplace of the modern skyscraper as we know it. The first man to build a skyscraper in New York was from Chicago. His company was based in Chicago, Daniel Burnham. And he built the skyscraper first in Chicago. And also the person who owned it, Fulham, I think was his name. Look how big this building is. What is this building? It's huge. Jared says, this feels like a movie set, no one around. Yeah, Yeah, that's the weird thing about Chicago. It's a really, really interesting city. Yeah, it's a city. It's a big city, but still like a very car-centric big city. Even though there's a very good metro system here, um, there's not that many passerbyers. There's not many pedestrians compared to like New York or Paris or London or Rome. Here, it's more sparse. Very, very interesting city. It feels big and huge, and yet quiet and calm. And to me, it's fascinating that such a big city can feel this calm. And I wonder why. Let us know your thoughts as we're walking around. Are you going to State Street? The beautiful Macy's architecture building is beautiful. Ah, maybe. Ooh, but what's that church? Let's check out that church. Wow, it's huge. Oh my. You should go to Willis Tower, says Ethan. I did go to Willis Tower when I covered Chicago. Sorry, I said 2021. I meant 2022, early 2022. Almost went to Chicago this time 2 years ago. And I did go to Willis Tower. I did enjoy it. It was nice. But if I go to Willis Tower again, I would have to go on a sunny day. Because the first time I went, it was on the cloudy day, and I didn't get to see the full views as I wish I would have seen. Have you tried Harold's Chicken? No. What is Harold's Chicken? Do let me know. Yes, nice to see you here. Check out tomorrow morning, Hero Coffee. The location is by the Art Institute of Chicago. It's really nice. Ooh. Stephanie, nice to see you here. I haven't seen you in a while. It says the train station is really cool to see. Yes. Have you done any videos in Detroit? No. Raul says big cities can feel this calm. Maybe they run away from the camera thinking it's a cop cam. No. Yes, big cities in the U.S. can feel this calm. It's not the norm if you compare it to Europe. That's why, I don't travel too much within the U.S. So to me, this feels different from what I'm used to when going to a big city. And no, it's not people afraid of the camera. You literally, don't see that many people around. Colleen, nice to see you here. Michael says, Chicago is always like that. Our tourism went down a lot. Ah, why did the tourism go down? Let me know. Why is that the case? Hello, Manny. Nice to see you here. Good to see you again in Chicago, says Manny. Yeah. Happy to be in Chicago. Oh my God, this is a cool shot. Look at this. Wow. I wish lighting has to be better, but look, that's a cool shot. You get this like very old Gothic building surrounded by these massive skyscrapers, including what was one of the tallest buildings in the entire world for many, many years. Definitely the tallest building in America for many, many years. What used to be known as the Sears Tower, now known as the Willis Tower. And that's where the observation deck is. It's a massive building. Still exceeds the height of the Empire State Building, the Chrysler. A bit shorter than One World Trade Center, but still pretty damn tall. Adam says, did you take a train here? Adam, no, I did not. So, Adam, anyone asking how I got here via airplane. It's pretty quick. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Pretty quick ride. But if there was a high-speed train and it was built fairly direct, like they usually do in many European intercity high-speed trains, I could get from New York City to Chicago in about 2 hours or less. But about 2 hours would be a high-speed train, like on the level of Japanese high-speed trains or French high-speed trains. But no, we don't have a high-speed train. So if I wanted to come from New York to Chicago by train, it would take me, 9 hours? A lot? Too much time. So no, I got here by plane. It was fairly quick. Kay says, wow, Kilkenny is busier than this. Yeah, that's the strange thing. This is why I find these American cities outside from New York and Boston just fascinating. They're huge, some of them, and they're empty. And this is a downtown area, but the thing is, this is not just offices. There's residential here, a lot of residential, and very tall residential, like this building over here. So it is fascinating, the emptiness. Norseman says, hey, I recommend for Gino's for the best pizza. I did go to Gino's East when I came here in 2022. Is that Rivian, the car company? Yeah, that was Rivian, the car company. Are you near Michigan? I'm not sure. I don't know the streets off the top of my head, but all the streets here in Chicago are named after all the states in America. I think all of them, or at least a big chunk of them. No, but this is, I don't care about Tesla, I don't care about Rivian. I care about this, ladies and gentlemen. This is my car right here. I won't settle for anything less. Right here. Gonna roll up doing urbanist tours with these. Let me know, should I get a Maserati Azura? Or should I go for an old school Bentley?
Kind of it's the economy sheet in that line, and it's still a nice paper, but it's not.
Should I go for this old school Rolls Royce with a little bit of urbanist orange tint? Or SUV? Let me know. Oh my, these apartment buildings are huge. Crazy. So yeah, I can definitely tell we are in the rich area of Chicago. Maseratis used to be the drug dealer's choice of car, says Dr. Risky. Thank you. George says, you were there on a Monday. Many restaurants, barbershops, and other businesses are closed. Thank you, George, for clarifying. That's no excuse, though. No city should be this quiet. Chicago is a gorgeous city, but it shouldn't be this quiet. On the Monday, including. On the Sunday, I would forgive it, because Sunday, is it's the day of Sabbath for large parts of the U.S. and Europe, of course, in the Western world. But come on, nah. This should not be so empty on a Monday. Like, I should be able to drop in the cafe right now. But there is no cafes to be seen, except for Starbucks. Inspired Life says, wonder how the rent compares to New York City. I think it's cheaper, but I wouldn't say that much cheaper. If anyone could find out the average rental price in downtown Chicago, let us know. Ooh, we got Devil Dogs right over here. Chicago known for its hot dogs. And I love this about Chicago. Another thing very unique is that you have some of these very, very old buildings, like 2-story buildings, 3-story buildings. You still see in New York, but I find it amusing that sometimes you see these 3-story buildings right next to skyscrapers, which you don't see in New York as often. Justine says, are we in the business district? We are. It's a combination, but I think veers more residential. Well, all these high rises are residential. Inspired Life says, interesting scale to the city. Yeah, the city has a large scale to it. A very large scale to it. So I tried these donuts back in 2022. They were nice, very good donuts. Stars Donuts, good chain. I think we're right by the museum. Let me go down this way. So Mr. Chess says you're looking at around 3K on average in the loop. So the loop is like the center city. So 3,000 on average in the center city. Really, in the city center? It's pretty low. Compared to New York. New York is nearly 5,000, 4,500 or so. Susie says, I missed the beginning. Are you back in Chicago for a specific reason? We will not be talking about anything that I mentioned in the beginning. If you're late, you're too late. Sorry. Sorry, we won't be discussing any topic ever again, over again. So I'm here because I'm collaborating with a very interesting foundation, nonprofit foundation, that's helping to eradicate a very big illness. That will be revealed, and you'll see those videos around mid-May. So I can't reveal it right now, but that's why I'm here. I'm working with a really cool foundation, so I'm excited to do a video on this, and it's a really, really powerful topic about history that I think people should know, especially American history. So stay tuned. Ooh, look at this. So, 2022, I made a video about this place. I came here in the wee hours of night because right here is one of the most haunted buildings in all of Chicago. The Chicago Water Tower. I forgot the exact date. So I've done research for the videos I'm making with this foundation, but I haven't been able to do research of the city. So let me know the details. But about 100 or so years ago, Chicago had a terrible fire that consumed the entire city. Chicago was a very fast-growing city on the scale of New York, on the scale of Boston, but this fire devastated it. However, this is one of the few buildings to have survived this fire. This is the Water Tower building. Now, I forgot the exact details of the haunted history, but people still say that late at night, you can see someone still hanging on the top of the tower. And the reason for that is that apparently someone was here when the Great Fire was happening. However, they were unable to pump water to put down the fire, in order to save people who were located around it. The person who was stationed here was so distraught by this travesty that he committed suicide. And his spirit still lingers here to this day. However, Chicago is also one of the main places for a very big conspiracy theory that has consumed the Western world. This conspiracy theory is called Tartaria and the Mud Flood. Now, Chicago is rather weird because Chicago was founded around, the city was started being built around 1832. And it went from nothing, really, kind of this outskirts city right by a major lake, but it was kind of out of the way at that time in America. Not like New York, not like Boston, which was located by the Atlantic Sea. And it grew crazy quickly to the point that you had all these big, magnificent buildings by the 1870s or so, like this water tower. However, there's theories that these buildings, like the water tower, predate 1832, predate what we know as the construction of Chicago and are actually remnants of an old civilization that was erased from the face of the earth. Apparently, this old civilization was buried under piles and piles and piles of dirt because there was a massive mud flood that consumed huge parts of the world. This civilization they call the Tartarians, the Tartan Empire, or Tartaria. And Chicago is kind of like the center point in America for this conspiracy theory. Because if you look at photos of the World's Fair of Chicago in the late 1800s, it was magnificent. These massive, gigantic, regal buildings that could beat basically any major building in Europe at that time. And apparently they were all made out of plaster and destroyed within like a year. But if you look at the photos, something looks suspicious because those buildings don't look merely made out of plaster. They look like they were made out of stone, like this one. But that's just a conspiracy theory. So let's read what it says here. 1869 to 1969. In this centennial year, the Chicago Water Tower has been designated the first American water landmark because of its significance in the development of Chicago's water resources and the symbolic identity with the spirit of Chicago. This was erected by Richard J. Daley, mayor. Wow. Hey, Wendy's tuning in. Thank you so much. Bella says, how tragic. So the old water tower was completed in 1869. It marks the establishment of Chicago's second waterworks, although most other buildings, a pumping system, were burned, and it still stands as a principal memorial of 1871's Great Fire. So the Great Fire was 1871, and this building was built only 2 years prior. And it says, this tablet is erected in the recognition of the outstanding services to the city of Chicago given by DeWitt Clinton Krager, engineer of Chicago Avenue Pumping Station between 1853 and 1879. Wow. JJ says, bonjour de France. Bonjour, mes amis. Hello, brown-eyed girl. Nice to see you here. Hello, Jesus. Jesus is tuning in. Thank you, Jesus says, Putin released maps that shows Tartaria covering most of the world. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that development. There's some good popcorn around the corner, says Dr. Risky. Yes, there is. And Johnny says, love to see you, Ariel. Hey, I need a coffee in the Cool Cafe. You know, this area is a bit lacking in cool cafes. There's that donut shop we passed by, but there's not that many interesting cafes here. All right. So that was the water tower. I hope you enjoyed it. Justine says there's a Nutella Cafe. Oh, there is. Interesting. Whoa, look at that cool building. Oh my God. Oh, that building's cool. Look, a high-rise in brick. Crazy. Oh, the old sign and everything. Oh, this is a gorgeous building. That's the cool thing about Chicago. You have these really, like, the style of architecture that was very prominent in the mid-1800s of big European cities and of New York, but just done tall, like this massive brick Romanesque style skyscraper. That's huge. Inspire Life says, wow, that's some architecture. Yeah. Inspire Life says, you're an architect or any other architects tuning in. Do they build brick buildings? Is it common to find brick buildings this tall in anywhere? I don't think I can think of many brick buildings in New York that are this tall. This is massive for a brick building. Poor bricklayers. How you call the people who put on bricks? Brick workers. Putting one brick by brick all the way up there. Inkspire Life says, I have not seen that many brick buildings that tall. I think it's rare. Yeah, this has to be rare. So it looks very Gotham-esque. No wonder Christopher Nolan used Chicago as one of the main filming locations for Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Then Dark Knight Rises used a bit more New York. The outside ladder looks spooky. Yeah, it looks like the Great Tower of Terror, which is a great ride in Orlando, Florida. Yeah, it's a fire escape. So this skyscraper, since we're seeing a fire escape, it has to predate fire laws of like the 1920s or so. This building must be really old. I can't believe I did not know last time I came here to Chicago. And I love the neon sign that's still up there. Tip, top, tap. Yeah, this fire escape would indicate that this building is probably prior 1930s. It's a very old skyscraper. All right, I found my new tuxedo. Look at that, floral tuxedo. Oh, exactly what I needed. Ralph Lauren, I'll come back for you. Shiva says, great to see you live streaming in Chicago. So happy to be in Chicago. This area is a little bit more lively. There we go. We got more life on this main avenue. Let's see what avenue this is. Someone earlier asked, is Chicago easy to navigate? Yeah, it's a grid system. So I think once you get acquainted with the grid, you'll find your way easier. How much do the tuxedos go for? If it's Ralph Lauren, they're probably selling tuxedos quite expensive. Unfortunately, like $3,000, I would assume. A bit too expensive. So we are on Michigan Avenue. So thank you everyone who recommended us to walk through Michigan Avenue. There's way more life here. It's way better. So the Allerton Hotel, this huge brick building that we're passing through right now, that I was admiring, was built in 1924. There we go. Predating the need or the regulations involving building fireproof staircases. So that's why you have fire escapes on this rather tall skyscraper. Needless, mark up on the left. Used to love walking down. Gina says, I used to love walking down Michigan Avenue. The suit has your name written all over it. Yes. So as many of you know, I'm nominated for a Peabody Award, which is a super prestigious award in media. And I will need some type of suit to wear if I am invited to the ceremony. And I would love to get that suit, but it might be a little bit out of my budget. Unless if I have a kind benefactor out there that wants to sponsor a suit. Let's take a closer look on this building. So on the lower level of this tall brick building is Romanesque style windows. Kind of looks like an old church in Italy. I really like it. It's nice. I like how they even put these, I think what would be wells back in the day. I'm not entirely sure what this would be called. I like this touch. Dr. Risky says it's okay to jaywalk. They won't give you a ticket. Is it like Boston? Do people just jaywalk without giving a care? So the interesting thing about Chicago is that it really takes old world architecture from Europe and makes it big. On a more kind of obvious scale than New York. Because New York, since it developed slightly after Chicago, New York went with more Art Deco, more Beaux-Arts, but here in Chicago they kind of experimented more and brought a lot more older elements of Europe here. At least that's how I can kind of make sense of it. So the Allerton Hotel. Wow. Must see recommendations for the South Loop, says Ominia. I don't know off the top of my head. Chicago has a few awesome museums like the Chicago Art Museum, but South Loop specifically, I don't know. If anyone does know, write it down in the comments. Purple says, will we see the hotel you're staying at? Yes. There's a chance I'll show where I'm staying. Thomas says nobody's yelling like in New York. Yeah, I wouldn't give up your hopes. Chicago is very similar in New York in that regard. Right now I don't get the sense that it's as bad as New York, at least in this area. But in terms of homelessness and mentally ill people outside and about, I think Chicago suffers from similar ailments as does New York and Seattle as well. So right here is a huge Starbucks Reserve Roastery. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 stories tall. It's a pretty big coffee shop right there. Marie from Trondheim, Norway. I can't wait to go to Trondheim one day. I would love to go. That city's so up north, man. Oh man, this is one of my top destinations I want to go. Gina says, isn't that Starbucks? Yeah, that is a Starbucks. Starbucks, unfortunately, the Reserve Roasteries do not like too much filming, so I won't be able to walk in, but here it is from the outside. You should try to get the Chicago L, says Adam. Oh yeah, the Chicago L, the loop. Yeah, I would love that. The elevated. George says that 4-story building used to be Crate and Barrel. All the museums are worth it, says Dr. Whiskey here in Chicago. There's some of the best in the world. Interesting. Ray says, I'm very welcome to Chicago. Thank you. Wow. What is this? This is Burberry. Oh, they made a crazy building over here. All right. Susie says, my anniversary. Oh, for what, Susie? Peter says, the Museum of Science and Industry has a German submarine inside of it. Oh, interesting. All the museums are worth it. Adam says, I love Charlotte Foresti. I'm glad you do. That's awesome. Cecile says, hello from Copenhagen. Ooh, I love Copenhagen. One of my favorite cities I visited in Northern Europe. Can't wait to go back one day. Justine says, I love the Burberry storefront. Me too. Gorgeous. This area is very nice. I like this main avenue over here in Michigan. Ooh, Susie is 31 months as a subscriber. Hey, Susie, thank you so much for being a member on YouTube. I appreciate that. Oh, that's a big tulip. This one's overgrown. Oh my God. What did they feed this tulip? I'm glad that they made the tulips Urbanist Orange in honor of my arrival. I really do appreciate that. If anyone can personally thank the mayor of Chicago, I appreciate that. Susie says, but I've been a subscriber on Facebook for 7 years. Yep, indeed you have. Thank you. Colores Mexicanos. Look, an entire store of Mexican memorabilia. Oh, cool. If you want to dress like Frida Kahlo, you can over here. Brown Eye says, that's beautiful. Love the cleanliness of the street, says Brown Eye. Yep. It's because Chicago has alleyways. Unlike New York. Marco says, yes, we arranged the tulips for you. Thank you so much, Marco. Yeah, I appreciate the city of Chicago going through those lengths of accommodating my arrival. Now I think the mayor's gonna arrive to give me a personal greeting, hence the sirens. Kay says, my anniversary came up as well, 63 months as a subscriber. George says look out for the Chicago Tribune building. Yes, I will show it. We're coming across it very soon. And I think it's one of the more beautiful buildings in America. Wow says you should come to Salem. I have been to Salem. 2021. Wait, even before then. It was 2020. It was the year of the pandemic. I went to good old Salem, October. It was a beautiful time. I did enjoy my time in Salem. I have a few tours available on YouTube. So search Salem Urbanist and you'll find the videos. Raul says, welcome back to Chicago. Susie says, the soothing sounds of ambulances. Oh yes. Gina says, one of the best times to be in the city is when they plant all these tulips in the fall. If you see the Chicago building, look for the stones from all around the world embedded on it. Yes, I will. So right now we're officially in the Magnificent Mile, known for its grand architecture. Here's the Intercontinental Hotel. I like the flower display that they have in front. Oh, very nice. Huge. Ella says the sidewalks are very wide and look super clean. Oh yes, Chicago's way cleaner than New York. I wish New York was this clean. Purple says, have you eaten since arriving? I have, yeah. I enjoyed an almond croissant from La Colombe Coffee Roasters. It was great. Very filled up. Sergio says, go to the west side of Chicago. All right, let's go to the west side. All right, who wants to go to West Chicago? Let me know. Isn't the nickname for West Chicago Chirac? The modern nickname? Hey, Matt. Nice to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Is this the Chicago Tribune building right here? Whoa, yeah, it is right here. The Chicago Tribune building, everyone. A Gothic skyscraper of Chicago. I actually watched very recently, just 2 days ago, an excellent movie that takes place here in the Chicago Tribune back in like the late 70s or 80s called The Case for Christ. Excellent movie. It's available on Amazon. And it's a very like specific story about a journalist who investigates Christianity. He's an atheist. And I won't tell you any more, but it takes place in this building. So wow, beautiful Gothic skyscraper right over here. I'm just stunned. See, this is cool. I kind of remiss that New York did not build more Gothic style high rises like Chicago did, or any city for that matter. Like, I don't think we, as a Western society, really embraced Gothic architecture to its fullest extent, like Chicago did. Carlston says they're planning for a 1,400 feet building right next to it. Is it going to block the view? And is it going to be modern? Jared says, we have a building like that in San Antonio and smaller. Adam is asking, what's the statue behind me? Well, Adam, in the American Revolution, in order for the British to gain information about the guerrilla warfare tactics of the Americans, they relied on a few sources. One of those sources was Benedict Arnold, and apparently one of those other sources, though it's a bit more complicated, might have been Nathan Hale. And I think it might have been the other way around. But this man was a spy. I think he spied on the British on behalf of the Americans. And he was hanged, I mean. He was hanged. And I think in New York, specifically. So, 1755 to 1776. He was very, very young. I forgot the exact story, but yeah, I think he was a American spy, American spying on the British during the American Revolution. One note, this tour is not researched. I know a lot of history in general, but details sometimes are fuzzy because I haven't covered that history or learned about it in years. So if anyone has clarifications or extra details, do let us know in the comments. Always happy to include them in the broadcast. So the Chicago Tribune building was erected in 1925. The Tribune itself was founded in 1847. Hey, Raul says, by the way, the water taxis are working again. Ooh, oh, that's good to hear. I wanted to know about if there was a ferry system here. So that's good to hear about the water taxis. Thank you so much, Raul. Wow. It looks like a church in the front. And nowadays it's private residence right here. Look at that. Would you live here? Let me know. Will you live in this former office building? Kindness says, Nathan Hale says, I regret that I have only one life for my country. Yeah, that is one of his famous quotes. Wow. Wendy says, I want to see inside. Unfortunately, we can't. And here, there we go. One of the other reasons why the Magnificent Mile is so magnificent. Look at this view. Now, the beauty of Chicago is that it is a museum of skyscrapers. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the big difference with New York and Chicago in terms of skyscrapers is that the skyscrapers are a bit further apart. So you can enjoy more of the historic skyscrapers, especially the ones that predate the 1940s, because they stand in view. You can almost see the entire building. And that's very, very unique. Because in New York, a lot of this style of buildings are kind of crammed into the downtown area. So you really don't get a sense of each individual building. But here you do. And that is stunning. Here we have another beautiful Gothic style skyscraper. Hermes, nice to see you here. How you doing, man? Adam says you can walk up and down the river. Yes, we can. On the left there are these stones. I'll check them out, Gina. Thank you so much for letting me know. I wonder if they're condos or rentals, says Marco. If I were to speculate, I think they are condos. Manny, ¿qué tiene en Chicago que no tenga en Nueva York? Disfrútalo. What is in Chicago that is not in New York? Sí, tú sabes, Chicago tiene esta belleza de arquitectura de rascacielos. So, Chicago, what has edging New York is this beauty of these pre-1940s skyscrapers. There's an Art Deco building right behind it. Yeah, this Art Deco building looks nice. I wonder what this is. Kind of, it feels more open. Yep. You'll be hard pressed to find a view like this in New York. Okay, someone playing rap, unfortunately. Joe says, how's the pizza? Not my favorite. Not my favorite. Someone was saying, how's the embedded stones? Let's check them out. Hey, remember when I visited Vienna recently? Here's a stone from St. Stephen's Cathedral. Here's a stone from the Roman ruins. Oh, that's really cool. Wow. 455 BC. That's awesome. Here's a stone from Cartagena, Colombia. That is awesome. Here's a stone from the original tomb of Abraham Lincoln in Springfield, Illinois. What? Oh, thank you to all the Chicago urbanists tuning in that have recommended us to look at these stones. I did not notice this the first time I came here. Piece of the Sydney Opera House. This is an awesome collection right here. Ah, we got a piece of the Forbidden City of Beijing. Or as they wrote here, Peking. Wow. We got a piece of a fortress or monastery from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Oh my. A fortress from the Rhineland, modern day Germany most likely. Wow. Oh my God. Oh, I love this. Hey, Lance. Ooh, we got a lot of Midwestern urbanists here. Lance says the Art Deco black building that we see kind of hidden in the skyline over here is the Carbon and Carbide building. Ooh, interesting. Kindness says the Museum of Ice Cream? Yes, please. Yes. Museum of Ice Cream is more kind of like a place to take photos. It's not really like a proper museum, so yeah, it's more of a place to take photos. Ooh, it's getting warm in here. You know, I originally started packing for cold. I thought Chicago still this time of year was going to be rather cold, but no, it's really warm. This jacket is a bit too much. Here we have the Remagen Bridge. Oh my God, look, the marble used in the Pantheon, the Parthenon, the marble used in the Parthenon, 447 BC from Mount Pentelicos. Wow, that's cool. And this looks like a brand new piece of marble. Wow, way better shape than what you see in the Acropolis. Butter Tower, the cathedral. This is a great tribute to architecture around the world. The Mosque of Suleiman the Magnificent in 1557 in Istanbul, Turkey. Marco says, so cool to see you in Chicago. Yeah, man, I'm so happy to be in Chicago. This is awesome. This little area. Wow, I'm like stunned. I can't believe I did not notice this before. We have a piece from Delaware, Old Swedes Church, dating back to 1698. Wow. Iowa. Oh, this is a building from 1673 or landing? 1673, very old piece of architecture from Iowa. The house in Leiden, Holland. Hey, I went there. Look, this is where I went. Yeah, I went here. I covered Leiden. I was in Leiden, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely was in Leiden when I went to Holland. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my God. Our Antarctica, U.S. Navy expedition, 1947. Oh my God, I'm in love. This is the coolest thing ever. Revolutionary Battlefield, Trenton, New Jersey. Oh my God, did George Washington touch this rock? No. Am I touching the same rock that George Washington touched? Maybe. We got Nebraska. The one place I really wanted to visit. You know, I was going to go to Nebraska at this time of year. But no, there's tornadoes everywhere. No. I hope everyone's safe. Though one day you will randomly see me in Nebraska. One day. I won't announce when. You'll just see me randomly in Nebraska. We got the Golden Castle in Osaka. Veronique says, I remember the live stream where you were in Leiden. Yeah. Ooh, Pearl Harbor, wow. Reims Cathedral. I have not had the chance to go to Reims yet in France. Hans Christian Andersen Home. Hey, the man who wrote Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, many others. We got a piece of Guam right here. Oh my God. New Jersey, Washington's landing after the crossing of the Delaware. Oh my God. Washington most likely stepped foot on this rock. I'm touching the same place where Washington stepped foot in. Oh my God, that's so cool. I can feel George Washington's footsteps. Bella says, Nebraska is calling you. Indeed it is. How awesome is this idea? A piece of history from all around the world. Yeah, it's really cool because you get like a feeling of the architecture around the world. It's a nice tribute. Gorgeous. We got North Dakota International Peace Garden. Melody says, what a fantastic display. I agree. I am in love. There's 2 more things down here. Hey, look, Ireland. Revolutionary Battlefield, Princeton, New Jersey. The walls of Londonderry in Northern Ireland. Held against James II in 1689. Oh wow, even Ireland. Are you going to visit the Puerto Rico firehouse out there, says Lee. Oh yeah, I did not, last time I was here, I had to cut my trip short because I was in a crazy Airbnb. It's a long story. But yeah, I did not get the chance to see the Puerto Rican area of Chicago. I won't be able, my trip here is very short, so I won't be able to do much content here in Chicago aside from the partnership I'm working on, which a lot of people I think will enjoy. So it says, built between 1920 and 1950, the Tribune Tower complex consists of 4 buildings. The Chicago landmark was adapted for residential use while preserving its unique character and rededicated in 2021. So here we have the printing plant, the Tribune Tower, the radio building, and the TV building. 4 towers in this complex. And this is a piece of the seminary from Quebec City. And I have been to Quebec City, but I haven't covered it on Urbanist yet. And here we have the Chicago Tribune. Wow, that's so cool. This is so awesome. Oh, wow. I'm glad that they built this. Hey, New York, take notes. This is the coolest little display ever. And let me know, when you go to the Museum of Ice Cream, should I hit them up and see if they want to partner up on the video? Get jibarito if you want to try Chicago food that was made by Puerto Ricans. Ooh, a jibarito. What is a jibarito? What does it consist of? I mean, probably has plantains in it, if I were to speculate. Look, there's food trucks here. This area, when I came here in 2022, it was pretty abandoned. So I'm glad that it has livened up this kind of other avenue right behind Michigan. Susie says, there's a museum of ice cream also in New York. Yeah, in Soho. Wow, so here we have Mexican, and bubble tea. Carlson says it's plantains as bread. Oh, like a patacon. Kathy says nice little historic educational walk around the Tribune building. I loved it. That has so far been the highlight of my trip. All right, let's check out more of the historic architecture over here. Adam says, is this still a TV station? No. Now they're apartments. As you can see, it was retrofitted all the interior. Look at that. So they preserve most of the exterior of this main tower building, but it seems like this, the other 2 buildings, they did not preserve the back exterior, at least not fully. You can see that these apartments, have balconies now, which was probably not part of the offices back then. Nikki says, where are you? I'm in the great city of Chicago. Chicago, as the Chicagoans say, Chicago. the home of the Bears, which is their team, the Bears. Yeah, we're in Chicago. The Windy City is the old nickname for it. Chi City, some people call it. Spike Lee called it Chirac in his movie that he made about Chicago. But that's a different part of Chicago. Expire Life says, love the sensitivity to design and history. Chi-Town. Is it Chi-Town or is it Chi City? I think it's Chi-Town. I might have said it by mistake. Pardon me. I think it's Chi-Town. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for clarifying. Carlson says that's where the new tower is supposed to be. It's approved, but nothing has happened yet. Yeah, the empty lot that we just passed by. Joe says it's also the Blues Brothers city. Yeah. Never seen that movie. But I know it's a very famous comedy. Oh my God. Look. Skybridge. Those are now a dying architectural fixture in New York City. There's only maybe 2 or 3 left. Only one really big one. One of the more famous ones in Madison Square Park was destroyed. Stupidly. I'm not sure why they destroyed it. It was very stupid on their end. But I'm glad this one's still up. I hope they don't destroy this. This is a sky bridge. Very rare architectural fixtures that you see in major cities in the US to connect 2 different towers in the building complex. Kay says, I want to hear the story of the crazy Airbnb. I did cover it on the video because I recorded it. So there was a few issues with this Airbnb. I'm not going to say where the Airbnb is, but first, it was right by the highway. And I thought to myself, it's like the Airbnb was here, and where you see that tower, that's where the highway was. I thought it was sufficiently far enough that I wouldn't really be bothered by the highway. But this Airbnb had windows that were like a window in the middle of this studio apartment, and the window was basically from floor to ceiling. So they were very tall, single pane, so you can hear everything from outside. And then beyond that, they had these very thin curtains that were see-through. So all the light from the highway was coming in to the apartment building. So that was pretty bad. And I was already committed. I already rented this Airbnb, so I couldn't really cancel it. I would not get my money back. So I decided to go to like CVS and buy a bunch of cardboard and tape these cardboards together and block as much as the window as possible, because I can't sleep with that much light, and the noise was even worse. I could hear the highway the entire night. So as luckily I covered the window, then I started hearing some knocking on the actual ceiling of mine. Boom, boom, boom. And it was so weird. And then I heard moaning. Oh, boom, boom. And at first I thought it was a couple having relations. However, I did not hear a second person. And luckily this lasted only like 40 minutes. Next night, again, moaning. Boom! And it did not sound like wood bending. It was not wood bending. It was not someone merely walking tough on their apartment. No, it was like if someone was punching their floor. Really disturbing. And at a few moments, that third night or so that I was there in Chicago, the ceiling started to shake. So someone was physically punching or doing something to the floor. It wasn't like they were working out, and it didn't sound like someone was having relations, because it was only one person. I can only hear one person. And then the next night, This went on not for 40 minutes, not for an hour, not for 2 hours, but nearly like 4 to 5 hours. And I was scared shitless because there was these moans, these screams by one person, not multiple people, one person, and this massive punching on the wall and on the floor of this upstairs apartment. And I felt the entire room shake. And it sounded like someone was like suffering. Like, boom, boom. And this went on all night long. And I could not sleep. And it was terrifying. It was just deeply terrifying, on a deep level, terrifying. So I recorded it because I knew that this Airbnb had a 0 refund policy, but I could not stay in this Airbnb. And I messaged the owner of the Airbnb and sent them the video where you can hear the moans and the banging, and you can see the wall physically shake from the video. And luckily they canceled the rest of my stay and refunded me the rest of my stay. I was so happy that they did that, and that's why I cut my trip short. I just did not feel like staying in Chicago or trying to find another Airbnb. Chicago is very expensive in terms of lodging, so I just didn't feel like spending that much money to stay in Chicago for like 2 or 3 days more. So I left. And that was one of the worst Airbnbs I've ever stayed in my life. Deeply scary. I never stayed in a place that was as scary in my life. So crazy. And for anyone who was following me at the time, I very briefly posted a video of this scary banging that I deleted like the next day because I just did not want to keep it up there. But yeah, few of you saw that. So crazy. If you're ever in that position, don't stay. Do anything in your power to leave, because I'm not sure what was happening. Still to this day, I have no idea what was happening. Someone was telling me, so people are saying, was it haunted? No, it was real banging from a real person. I'm not sure what was happening up there. I have no idea. And, my second assumption was that they were on some weird drugs. But since the banging went on for upwards of 5 hours, 6 hours, yeah, something was happening there. So I still don't like thinking about it. It's like deeply disturbing. So that's why I didn't stay in Chicago that long. But now I'm glad I'm here. I'm back here. I'm a much nicer place, for sure. So maybe I'll cover this place and you'll know where I'm staying at. George says, you were lucky to get a refund. I personally would have called the police. I was tempted to call the police. Yeah, it was very deeply disturbing. I was weighing my options. The reason I did not call the police is because something so weird was happening upstairs. And someone was saying it was a crime scene. No, because it happened a few nights in a row and there was only one person. It was significant mumbling and moaning from this individual. So I did not hear not one other voice up there. So it was only one person. And the banging only came from one location. So it wasn't like multiple locations. So I can tell that within I was pretty certain that was only one person up there. Otherwise, if I got the feeling that was more, then I would have called the police. But I was weighing my options because I thought to myself, there's something really weird happening upstairs. If I call the police, the person will know it's me who called the police. So I potentially put myself in danger. And I send the video to the Airbnb owner and I asked for a refund. And I left that very day because I wasn't going to take the risk of them saying, oh no, don't worry, you can stay, we'll talk to the person. No, I was going to leave. So I wasn't going to take that risk. And I chatted with some people to say, like, what should I do? And they told me the same thing, like, just leave. Because, if I called the police and the person gets really pissed off, who knows what could have happened. I was not going to stay. So that was my craziest Airbnb story. Luckily, this is not indicative of Airbnb. Airbnb, for most part, has always been amazing. This has been the only instance out of dozens of Airbnbs I've stayed on in the past few years. So luckily, this is not a common occurrence. It was a very, very rare, weird occurrence. So let me know your theories. All right, let's continue walking around. Daniel says, Ariel's such a good storyteller. I'm glad you enjoyed that story. It's not a story I enjoy telling. That's why I barely talked about it. Expire Life says, smart move. I'm glad you think so, yeah. Did you bang on the ceiling back? I banged on the ceiling back initially that first night. That's a great question. I did bang back because it was getting rather annoying after like 10 or 20 minutes of it. And I did bang back. And the person stopped. And then I heard a very, very, very loud bang. Like 20 minutes after that. That's when I knew I was not going to keep on. I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to try to go up there. I wasn't going to try it bang back. Yeah, so Yeah. I did bang back once. And it was disturbing, the response, so. Hey, Veronique says probably someone mentally ill. Yeah, deeply. Hey, Bella says, I was glad you were able to get a refund and leave safe and sound. Yeah. Susie says that person could have been on K2. Yeah, they could have been on a very serious drug that causes intense rage and dissociation and things like that. Jamal says, check out Buongiorno's Pizza in front of you, in front of the Wrigley building. Ah. Wendy says, do you have nightmares after that? No, luckily no nightmares. But it did shake me. It did shake me, but no nightmares, luckily. Is that the Trump Tower ahead? Yes, right here. Yeah, it's this one. So right here, the famous Chicago River, where we have these beautiful boat tours. Check out my video from 2022. Search Urbanist Chicago boat, and you'll find a video. I just showed a full tour where it was hosted by a guide, and it was awesome. Really mind-blowing. I mean, I'm tempted to go again. I'm not sure if I would live stream it again, but I'm tempted to go again because this ride, highly, highly recommended. These architectural tours are just a wonder. Truly, you get a sense of Chicago from a beautiful point of view. So, let me know if you saw my Greenpoint video that I broadcasted last week, where I talked about the Newtown Creek. Newtown Creek is the creek between Long Island City, Queens, Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and that creek runs all the way deep into Brooklyn and Queens, all the way into Bushwick, Brooklyn. Now, this creek is about this size, and I was talking about how there should be development mostly concentrated around this area. And it's because that area is mostly post-industrial, so there's not really that much industry left there. There's not that much historical architecture, maybe aside from a few old warehouse buildings, but not much interesting historical architecture. Because it was a lot of chemical companies in that area. That said, my vision for Newtown Creek is this. Right here. Newtown Creek is about the same width as the Chicago River. And just imagine walking bridges between Brooklyn and Queens that look like this, all along Newtown Creek, going deep into Bushwick, Brooklyn, surrounded by beautiful architecture. Especially if we could do, again, like revival architecture from the Gothic times.
Water taxi?
Water taxi? Yeah, that way, yeah.
There is no
There's no...
There is no boat.
No boat? I'm not sure. But I do recommend the ferry. That one. Very nice. Random tourists asking me questions. So, this is my vision for Greenpoint. Right here. Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for linking my tour to my boat tour video. So yeah, everyone could check that out afterwards. Prague says, keep your hand on your wallet. Indeed. Yeah, you never know. But no, it was just a tourist that seems to be from India asking about the water taxi. But yeah, imagine this being Long Island City right over here and Greenpoint, and having beautiful walking bridges and light rail connecting those two. Robert says, make it happen. I would love to make it happen. And it's crazy how the Chicago River is almost the same width as the Newtown Creek. And pretty much probably around the same depth. It's probably pretty deep as well. Marco says, a man of vision. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? Those areas are empty. New York needs more buildings. New York needs more people, more housing. Why not build in an area where it's not really utilized currently? Rather than trying to destroy older historic buildings in the older areas of Greenpoint or the older areas of Queens, might as well build tall along areas that are these abandoned industrial buildings that a portion of them have not much architectural value. Hey, Bella says, you look like a Chi-Town native. Yeah, I think that's why. The guy saw me with the camera talking about history, probably thought, oh, this guy's a tour guide. Let me ask him about the water taxi. Lorraine says Ariel should be an urban planner. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. That was my original plan when going to college, but I didn't end up studying it. All right, let's cross the bridge. I'll show you more of the water a bit further down. Hey, Daryl says, Walking Commuter has said, congrats to your nomination for the Peabody. Oh, thank you so much, Walking Commuter. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Daryl, for relaying that information. I appreciate that. Hope Walking Commuter is doing well. I remember this. Look at this gorgeous artwork. This is what we should build more in New York City. Like, why do we need to build modern architecture? Like, this type of architecture right over here wasn't like the modern architecture of the 1800s. No, this was architecture built in the 1800s, that was in the early 1900s, in order to pay homage to the classical era architecture. Definitely not medieval. Things like this pay homage to ancient Rome and ancient Greece that predates it 2,000 years ago. Why can't we do that with architecture now? Why does everything have to be a bunch of glass and steel? I get it. Oh, this one's not pretty, but some could be pretty. Like that one's pretty. That one might be a Frank Gehry building. That one's pretty. This one's a Frank Gehry building, yeah. This has to be a Frank Gehry. Kind of looks like it. No. This is a woman architect that's inspired by Frank Gehry, if I remember correctly. But yeah, you got some beautiful modern buildings. And I think we should embrace modern buildings. I think this tower as well is very beautiful too. But I don't think we should be afraid in a modern era. I don't think we don't need to limit ourselves to only modernity. We could, again, build classical architecture like this, or neoclassical architecture. We can take a new spin on classical architecture like they did in the 1800s. We could decide to disregard Beaux-Arts and Art Deco and remake it. We could decide to pull from medieval architecture or other parts of the world, like Japanese medieval architecture. Why not? Why not? I just don't get it. Why there's not more innovation and experimentation and homage in architecture? Because they did something right in the classical world, and I think we should pay attention to it. Ed says, yeah, there's the practical element that a lot of people there are not many tradespeople. There's not that many tradespeople because we don't build them. If there's more demand for it, potentially there'll be more tradespeople. Kind of works on both ends. Build in, they will come. But yeah, if we lose the trade for too long, like what happened in the medieval era, in terms of the ancient Roman Empire collapsing, the Byzantine Empire collapsing, in the medieval era, they kind of lost the skills for this type of stone construction until the 1600s, the Renaissance, when we remade or redeveloped modes of construction that were emulating the classical era again. But in essence, at least for parts of it, we had to start from scratch. So I think it's better not to allow the innovations of the 1800s, 1600s to 1900s to be lost in time, because profits and efficiency and functionality are deemed as better. But the beauty of a bridge like this, let's see when this bridge was built. The first white men to pass through the Chicago River, 1673. Oh, there we go. But a beautiful bridge like this inspires. It inspires. I get it, functionality is important, but inspiration does turn into money in the long term. An inspired populace makes better, bigger things, aka more people make money. Because a lot of people care about the money, so they say, oh no, we should build this because this just is better, is more efficient for wealth. Yeah, but this doesn't inspire, so the people who end up working there are just not inspired, so they end up not coming out with new, innovative, creative ideas. Hence, new industries, new businesses, new works of art are not really created when you're working in an uninspired office building like this. No offense to these architects. But when you see something like this, yeah, it does inspire. New stuff comes out of being in the presence of an urban environment that looks more like this. Or it could apply to more beautiful modern buildings like these. Oh, this entire bridge shakes as the buses pass. And it's because I think this bridge opens or can open to allow ships to pass through. That's crazy. Hey, Jeremiah says you should come down to Springfield, Illinois. Tons of history, especially if you like Abraham Lincoln. Ah, yeah. Abraham Lincoln from Springfield. I think that is a Mies van der Rohe building. It is a Mies van der Rohe building, yeah. No offense to Mies van der Rohe. The famous architect who was known for building these modernist glass and steel buildings. I mean, he definitely did some interesting things, but I think he mastered functionality, but he did not master artistry, I think. Or maybe a very functional, bare, modern artistry, but nothing deeply beautiful. Daryl says it's a cantilever building. Oh, interesting. Hey, ironically, I just picked this building randomly. I don't know too much about this. How do I pronounce this guy's name again? Mies van der Rohe building. But ironically, the Chicago Architectural Center, oh, the irony, is located in this building. Oh, that's funny. DS says, what do I love about Chicago? The architecture. And just the fact that this city is built on a river that's not so wide. So you really get a beautiful city views. It's like very painterresque. It has like the similar width that the Seine River or the Tiber River in Rome has. But unlike Paris, the buildings here are way taller. And I think that's the beauty of Chicago. His design can relate to box and glass styled homes as we see them today, says Dolly. Yes, yes. Is Frank Lloyd Wright credited for inventing the cantilever? Says Stephanie. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure who invented the cantilever. That's a good question. Yes, the view is nice. Bridges on the Chicago River do open upwards, says Adam. Oh, thank you so much, Adam, for letting me know. Appreciate that. So yeah, the bridges do open. All right, let's walk a little bit further down. So let's walk until the park area. People are saying some of the best popcorn is here. Yeah. I did try on the live stream in 2022. Cartman says, are you kidding me? You're in my favorite city besides New York, Chicago. I am glad. I'm glad I'm in your favorite city. That's awesome to hear. Robert says, not too many streamers come here. Yeah, a few of them did come. Wendy says, are you hungry? I'm a bit hungry. Yeah. Jake, nice to see you here. Welcome. Ah, the corncob buildings. Look at that. Look at the beautiful corncob buildings.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Well, I listen.
I'll show you the corncob buildings before I walk towards what used to be the World's Fairgrounds. Pythagorean, hey, nice to see you here. Pythagorean says, oh, the Trump Tower. They famously ditched the name Trump here in Toronto. Yeah, I think there was a controversy here, unfortunately, in Chicago. It's complicated, but I think they wanted to remove the Trump name, the city. I don't think nothing happened, evidently. It's still there. Hey, DSS, have you seen the old black and white pictures of many called Tartarian architecture? Yep, I was talking about that earlier. I wish I could just pull them up right now. So right now I'm trying to find if I can pull up photos from Chicago, but I don't think I have them saved, unfortunately. No, unfortunately I don't have them saved. But yeah, the World's Fair of Chicago, I highly recommend people searching up photos of the World's Fair as we're seeing this adventure, because it is truly stunning. Wow, look at these views. I think this building was not commissioned by Trump or his company. I think he bought the building and put his name on it. And I think that was a big controversy amongst Chicagoans. Hey everyone, nice to see you here. Omar from Chile. Buen día. Ojalá todo está bien. Wow, a lot of music here. Wendy says, am I traveling solo? No, I'm traveling with my harem. And someone says, don't show this building. So I got the most hilarious comment. I got this comment like 2 days ago. 2022, I do my normal bus tour around a new city that I visit. And I love doing bus tours when I visit a new city. I do recommend the Chicago one. The Chicago one starts like right here. And I'm waiting for the bus. I go live and I do a shot showing the views as I'm waiting for the bus to go. So I'm showing it from like similar to this perspective, and I show this. And I'm passing through, and then I put the camera on me and say like, hey everyone, welcome. We're about to do a bus tour through Chicago. And I got a comment on this video saying, oh my God, I used to love your show. I didn't know you had such a political agenda with your videos. How dare you show that building in the beginning? What? I'm like, I started laughing out loud when I read this comment 2 days ago, because it's within like the first 15 seconds of the video. And clearly I really don't discuss politics at all in my show. I stay away from politics unless if it's about urbanism and architecture. And this guy basically thought I had some type of political agenda because I started the video where the bus starts and I showed this building. I find that very hilarious. Oh, look at this, the 17th Church. Oh, this is an interesting church. Christian Science Reading Room. Hey man, this that person, poor person was deeply triggered by a building. A fairly common name on buildings in New York. So right here is the elevated, the L. This is the train, the elevated train that still runs all throughout the loop of Chicago. Chicago's downtown or center city. And right there, look at that. That's a cool ride. I also did that. in 2022. But today, let's all right, let's go one more block. We'll see the elevator a little bit closer, and then turn to see the World's Fairgrounds. Hey, Rafael says, are you going to pass by the Fire 51, part of the 25th Battalion in Chicago's District 4, Chicago Fire TV series? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about too much about that TV series. I'll look into it. JJ says these corncob towers remind you of Barcelona's Gaudi architecture. Yeah, because they have kind of this natural look to it. Out and About says the Trump Tower is now the St. Regis. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Hey, Inspire Life says, need to head out. Thank you so much for this walk. My pleasure, Inspire Life. Hope this inspired. Whoa. Alleyways. All right, I'm going to stick around for about 10, 15 minutes or so. So if you have any last remaining questions, feel free to ask. Do binge the Athens Urbanist series. Let me know if you already watched it. Let me know your thoughts. I'm so glad so many people have tuned in, left awesome comments. It seems like it has touched a lot of people in many ways. So I'm so glad that this documentary series really went a long way for many people. And I can't wait to make more. And then also beyond that, I got nominated for a Peabody Award. So I'm super honored to be considered for this very big prestigious award here in America. If you don't know what the Peabody Awards are, they're basically they're the top awards for media, just one step below like the Pulitzer. Pulitzer is like writing and journalism, and the Peabodys are like just one step below the Pulitzer, or basically on that level. So I'm super honored. And wow, all right, let's go to the World's Fairgrounds. People are asking, how long is my stay? I don't offer details of my stays, but you may see at least one more live stream of Chicago. That's all I can tell you. Matt, nice to see you here. Matt says, I did watch the Greece documentary. Do more of a new city documentary now, please. Yeah, man, I can't wait to do more. Thank you so much for tuning in. Michelle says, congratulations. Brown Eye says, please take advantage of the deep dish. I did in 2022. I think I had enough deep dish for a lifetime. Maybe if I meet a few Chicagoans, hit the town drinking, go to a baseball game, drink even more, and then late at night, then we go for some deep dish. I think that might be more appropriate. This is a cool perspective. Look, here we can see kind of why Chicago, Chicago, if you're looking for like the stereotypical city of American cinema, say prior to the 1980s, like noir movies, basically any movie that one would think of a big American city, it's Chicago, more so than even New York. I think people really associate Chicago more with like this view kind of is more indicative of those old noir movies. Ariel sent the super sticker. Hey, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. $5 super sticker.
Well, you love to see us, man. I seen them for 20 years.
The opening soundtrack to episode 1 and 2 was nice. Says DS. Hey, DS, I'm so glad you liked it. Michaela says, any unique pastries to Chicago? I don't know if Chicago really has its own pastries. Donuts are fairly popular here. There's a few iconic donut places. No, I don't think there's not that many pastries. Unique to Chicago, at least. Ariel, does Chicago have a New York vibe? Or does New York have a Chicago vibe? No, neither. There are similar. Chicago is way more similar to New York, and New York is way more similar to Chicago if you compare it to basically any other city in the world. So they are pretty similar. But they do have their distinct vibe if you spend time enough in New York or in Chicago. You'll notice that there is a different vibe. Very different vibe, actually. Irene says, I like the Chicagos I like the hot dogs in Chicago. Yeah, I did. And you'll find them around. Picard, nice to see you here. Anastasia says, I like the Grease videos. I love the Grease videos. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Prague says, how are you filming? Are you using a phone? Yeah, I'm using an iPhone 13 Pro. Yeah. Wow. What is this? Will the soundtrack be available for the Greece documentary for the Athens Urbanist? Yes, it's already available on Spotify. Search the Athens Urbanist original soundtrack. Athens Urbanist soundtrack. I have the link on the actual videos. If anyone can find the link to the Spotify playlist, do so, please. It's not available for sale because I don't own the music that I use for it. So it's not 100% original music. Only one song. The main score is original. Any intention of visiting the North Shore? I'm not entirely sure. I'm here for such a short time, so I don't think I'll be able to do too much here in Chicago, aside from my obligations. Hey, Pythagorean says, I want to send you some Fredo funds. Hey, Pythagorean, I appreciate that. You might be interested in checking out Chicago's Greek Town. Oh my God, so I can find Alfredo Espresso here in Chicago, potentially? To find a good souvlaki? That's cool to hear that Chicago has its Greek Town. I do vaguely remember reading about it. All right. Carol says Chicago looks way more clean than New York. Yes, and it's because of these alleyways. These alleyways provide a location for Chicagoans to place their garbage behind the building, away from mostly the public eye. And then garbage trucks can pass through these alleyways and collect the garbage without really interfering with daily life on the streets. That is the beauty of alleyways. Alleyways are pretty normal, even predating New York's grid plan. Alleyways were already implemented into some older European cities. However, for some reason, the urban planners of New York, who designed the grid system, decided to not include any alleyways in the original grid system. And no one knows for sure why, but one of the main reasons people think that's the case is because they want to optimize property values. So if more street fronts, there is more money to be made from real estate. That's not the case in New York. I mean, that is the case in New York. All right, I got mute. Someone's playing music loud. Stay tuned. Okay, so someone was playing some popular music. Irene says, I hope your hotel room is quieter. I think it is this time around. Prague says, we're Millennium Park. Indeed we are. The old World's Fair grounds. If anyone could remind me the date of the World's Fair, is it 1889 or 1898? Oh my God, the Chicago Beam. One of my viral videos of Chicago. Kind of looks cool from this distance. But this is the Chicago Beam, designed by Anish Kapoor. Basically, this sculpture that is meant to have no seams, no visible seams. Just looks like a blob of mercury reflecting upon the city skyline. Kind of looks cool from this perspective. It seems like it's either under repair or cleaning. Kathy, thank you so much. 1893 was the World's Fair. 1893. Thank you so much. Does your phone overheat, says Prague? No. Only overheats if it's really, really hot. So it overheated when I was in Greece. It was 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Has overheated a few times in New York, overheated also in Puerto Rico. But it has to be pretty much higher than 95 degrees Fahrenheit to run into risk of overheating. And it does overheat also if it's too cold. If it's under 28 degrees Fahrenheit, there's a risk of overheating because the phone is working too hard in order to keep itself warm. But in general, no, the phone does not overheat. And it lasts long because the battery life luckily is somewhat long for the iPhone 13. Though I wish it were longer. I think the iPhone 11 was longer. Hey! Maureen leaving a $20 super chat. Wow. Thank you so much, Maureen. I appreciate the $20 super chat. That's super kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Round of hearts to Maureen for leaving such a kind super chat. And thank you so much for being a supporter as well. If you love the Athens series, you can join people like Maureen and many others, Susie, Kay, there's many others who tune in to watch the bonus extended interviews from all the documentaries I make and many of the short video tours that I do. So you've seen the video about the Morgan Library or the video about the Apollo Theater. I usually record for an hour, anywhere between 20 minutes to 1 hour of recording for a video that ends up being edited down to 5 minutes or less. So I usually end up getting like full tours for some of these short videos. And I do publish them in its entirety on patreon.com/urbanist or to members on YouTube. So if you are a super urbanist tuning in right now, let everyone know how much you enjoy the extended videos. And I hope you enjoy the bonus footage. But right here, look at this gorgeous theater. Wow. Is this a Frank Gehry building? I forgot. Let me know in the comments. This looks like Frank Gehry. Raphael says the exposition was an influential social and cultural event that had a profound impact on American architecture, the arts, American industrial optimism, and Chicago's image. Yes, the World's Fair that transpired here in 1893 was a massive, world-changing event. It was the first major fair exposition to feature electric lighting, the alternating current motor, and many other innovations. I think there was like a moving sidewalk, the Ferris wheel, so mechanized rides were premiered here. Many inventions that end up changing the world as we know it premiered right here in 1893. The likes of Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla were here. George Westinghouse, Lewis Latimer. I'm not sure Lewis Latimer came here, but many famous inventors. And here we have the beam. The bean, I mean. The bean is beaming today. Where's the rice? I don't like beans without rice. Rice and beans, that's the combination right there. It's a shame that's closed today. Okay, so it says, please excuse our appearance. No, you are not excused. Access and views of the Cloud Gate are limited due to construction of Granger Plaza through spring 2024. No, you are not excused. This is unacceptable. Chicago. How dare you close the bean? Wendy says, tickle the bean. Now you know I want to. But no, it's closed. It's a bit too far away. I can't extend my fingers too far to tickle the beam like I did on my live stream. Cole says it reminds me of 90s CGI. Yeah, it's basically the evil Terminator in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Yeah, basically. I guess the bean is closed. Matt says the official name is the Cloud Gate. Yes, that is the official name, but no one calls it the Cloud Gate. Everyone calls it the bean. Stephanie says, do you know that Anish Kapoor copyrighted Vantel Block, which is the blackest black that the world has ever seen? Yes. That is the main comment I received on my video because I did mention that fact. people, for some reason, don't like Anish Kapoor doing that. Seems like he's also upset that the Bean is closed. Yeah, I feel you, man. Hey, Elisa, thank you so much for tuning in. Stephanie says, what video was that? What video are you referring to? The Bean? It was one of my Chicago tours. Almost the same walk I did today. And then I did a short video of the Bean. So you can search the Bean Urbanist, it'll probably pop up. All right. You heading to any neighborhood, says Brian? Not at the moment. Just enjoying the chill views. Hey, Gina says, I know you probably don't have time, but try another trip. Go to Graceland and Rose Hill. Both great examples of garden cemeteries. You're really close to the largest Tiffany Dome in Chicago's Cultural Center. Ooh. Wow. Look at this. A beautiful field of tulips amongst one of the biggest cities in America. How beautiful. Prague says, do you try Bugatsa or Lukumades? Yes. In Greece? Yes. Many times. It's included in the series as well. I enjoy Athens films. Hey, I'm so glad you enjoyed the Athens films. Thank you so much for tuning into them. I love this gorgeous shade of purple. Wow. Exactly the purple I love wearing. Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Tip throw through the tulips, says Susie. No, the signs say you cannot walk through the tulip field, unlike what some people are doing. Jer says, wow, yeah, it is a gorgeous sight. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Elle, I am so happy. Elle just mentioned one of the greatest video games ever made that is in Chicago. And the reason I kind of remember Chicago the reason I can navigate myself around it is because of the game Midtown Madness. And Midtown Madness is a open world racing game where they meticulously recreated Chicago amongst other cities in their sequels, like Washington D.C. They meticulously recreated the streets of Chicago so you can drive around through and have a blast. And it was also multiplayer, so you can like play cool multiplayer games. And wow, I love that video game so much. Do the parks open at night? There seems to be shows at the theater over here at night. I'm not sure if the park is necessarily open at night. That I'm not entirely sure. But thank you everyone so much for tuning in. This is a tour of Chicago. We walked from the Gold Coast, which is the very high-end area of Chicago, all the way down to the Magnificent Mile towards Millennium Park, which is right over here, right by the bean and the amazing, beautiful field of tulips. This is a wonderful city. I do recommend it if you're traveling to the US. Definitely, I will always recommend going to New York first, Boston definitely second, but if you already visited those two cities, I definitely recommend Chicago as well. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. You'll be seeing cool videos from Chicago, a side of Chicago that really hasn't been covered on too many videos before. That's coming out in mid-May. And I'll be back with more videos. Everyone, keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Good day from Chicago. Bye-bye.